Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to learn to replace the lid lock on this if in case your washing machine has any issues. Replacing the lid lock in this is a little bit different than a lot of the other Whirlpool units that are out there. It's a new style and we've already seen it break on some models, so I think that this is going to be a very important fix in the future. If you haven't figured out where to buy one, I should have a link for it in the description as well as a product tag as well. You'll need a screwdriver with both a Phillips and flathead on it, and then a 1/4-inch screwdriver or a drill gun if you have it. Now, I don't know if we're going to run into anything here. This is a nearly brand new washing machine, but let's go ahead and get this replaced.
Before working on the machine, make sure it's unplugged from any electric and water as well. First, move the washing machine to allow access to the rear of the cabinet. We're going to start by removing these two 1/4-inch screws on the washing machine. Then we're going to remove the 1/4-inch screw which is on the wire harness cover. Make sure to take the plate off once the screw is removed. Once this is done, traditionally you can dislodge most Whirlpool washing machine tops by pulling the lid forward, lifting up, and then pushing back. On some of these models, it's still possible that this technique works, but more often than not, we're seeing that it requires a more extensive maneuver. Some of these units still, you can lift up from the rear of the unit slightly, then push forward to dislodge the top, then go to the front and push up and then back. However, again, on this particular machine, it does not work. So if it still does not come unstuck, here's how to get it off to replace the lock or do anything else involved with the washer top. We're going to go to the rear of the machine and remove the 5 screws that hold the back console cover in place, then remove the cover from the machine. Now we need to dislodge the console panel, and there's 2 ways you could do this. If you're tough, open the lid up, push the basket rearward, and then underneath the washer lid there are 2 hidden spring clips, one on each side. You can press in on these really hard, and once you've pressed them back far enough, it should pop the console top up to be removed. This is rather hard, and you could use a screwdriver or needle nose pliers to assist, as this is a very tight fit. The easier way to do this is to use something thin, plastic, and useless like a GameStop reward card and press it into the small gap between the console and lid housing. Make sure whatever you use is flexible and plastic, as a metal putty knife, for example, generally is going to really chew the console plastic up. Press in firmly, and you should pop and hear the clips remove like you see here. You should be able to now swivel and remove the console. It is attached just with one wire harness. You can press in with your fingers to remove the harness from the control board. One thing you should have seen at this point as you remove the console is the technician sheet, which should be located here. We already removed the tech sheet in an earlier video, and you want to keep it as a secret tool for later in the video. Now go ahead and unplug all the various wires and the pressure hose. This harness is the one that goes to the lid lock, so we had to remove it anyway. I also removed the green grounding wire strap with a 1/4-inch screw. You may or may not need to remove it, but I found that if I really wanted to get the console top off, I did need to take it off at this point. With all these steps done, I was able to get the lid finally off by lifting it up quite a bit high in the rear, pushing forward to dislodge the top, then going to the front, lifting up and then backward like I had initially hoped at the start of the video. This style was a mess to deal with, and I think many people will encounter this issue, but it's hard to guess if this is a defect, I'm just genuinely doing this wrong all the time, or if it's just a manufacturing situation with Whirlpool. However, it seems like it's endemic with this style lid lock. Anyways, the lid is now able to be removed. You want to slide the washer chassis near a wall for support. Go ahead and lift the lid from the front with the washer top and gently pivot it away from the washing machine, making sure that the lid does not fall and crash anywhere as you pivot the top up. When you lift it up, you're going to see 2 small metal fingers that the lid top can slide into as you pivot the washer top to keep it from falling totally off while you work on it, and it's critical that you slot the washer top into these slots during the repair. We can now finally get to the lid lock. This lid lock style is different than any other style I've seen. To remove it, first, the lid bezel has 2 small fingers that attach to the lid lock chassis itself. The bezel's on the top side of the lid and then underneath, holding in place. You can use a screwdriver or your fingers to separate the bezel from the lock. It's very thin plastic, so be very cautious. I used my fingernails as it was a very delicate job to do. Once you have the bezel removed out of the way, to remove the lock, you need to press the assembly to the left, lift the assembly out slightly, then you can pull the assembly to the right to fully dislodge it from the washer lid. With it fully removed from the housing, it's now fully out. Yay! Next, there are two metal retainers that lock the wire trunk and harness into place. You need to remove it by using a flat-bladed screwdriver to get the harness out from the lid. When that's off, there's then a plastic retainer on the top side of the harness as well that you can press in and remove. Once you have all these pieces out, you can just fully swap the old lid lock out for the new, but I don't actually need one as this is a brand new washer with a good working lid lock. To reinstall the lid lock, do everything in reverse order. Thread the harness through the lid, place the trunk in the two wire clips, and then get ready to install the main lock assembly back in the lid. To install the lock into the lid, you need to push the top of the lock into the left side of the lid first. Once it's slotted into the left side, press the lock towards the top of the washer lid gently into the housing, then you're going to slide it hard to the right to lock the entire assembly into place. There is a small retainer on the lock's right side that should click in when you finish this. The lock is now properly installed, and you're going to go ahead and reinsert the bezel onto the top of the lid. If you did not install the lock properly, the bezel will not click into place easily. It should click into place properly when you've installed the lock as I've showed you. From here, we can gently take the washer top and lid and drop it onto the chassis. You're then slowly going to rock the lid forward, down, and then back. I did have to go to the rear of the console, lift up, then backwards to make sure it was fully secured, but you should hear it all click into place and the lid will be flush with the chassis again totally. Next, we're going to go ahead and put all the wires into place. Don't forget the grounding screw that I removed in the process of this. Install the harness to the console and then snap the console in place. The springs will click into place, letting you know that everything is now properly installed. Go ahead and install the metal panel with the 5 screws, then the wire harness cover screw, then the 2 final screws, and you're fully done. Remember the tech sheet that we found at the beginning of the video? You're likely going to need to recalibrate the machine after the lock has been installed. Go ahead and plug the washing machine back into electric and the water hoses, and let's put the machine into diagnostic mode. To enter diagnostics, reference your tech manual, but in the case of this particular style, make sure there are no lights on the machine. Then press these 3 keys in order 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 within 8 seconds. Now again, it could vary from machine to machine, so verify on your tech sheet. The light should flash, signaling you're now in the diagnostic mode. From here, press the second key, which was the rinse key in our situation, then press the start button to begin the automatic test mode. This will run and recalibrate every system on the washing machine. It should run for about 5 minutes and you should then be fully done with the unit. As a note, to close the video out, this machine's tech manual does not show any sort of true recalibration mode. If I find one, I will make a video showing it as well as the error codes and other diagnostic modes that the unit offers. I hope this video helped you replace your lid lock and helped you access the top of the washer because we had a lot of problems with it, and that's as much a part of this video as the lock itself. Have a great day.